Hello and welcome. My name is Natty Cash, and welcome to some Champions League football. The new league phase is here. We are going to have that new league phase starting right up, and we're going to do predictions on every single game of that league phase. So, starting off with match week one, let's take a look at each matchup and show what we have. I know I don't have a great way of writing down and showing a display of all the games so far, so I'm going to then figure that out as we go. For now, I'm going to just look at the fixture list here, and we're going to make some predictions. So the first off, we have two early window games, and we've got Young Boys going and hosting Aston Villa. Aston Villa is back in the Champions League for the first time in a very long time, and so we'll see what they can do going on the road to Switzerland to go against Young Boys. I do see Aston Villa getting the victory here. They are going to do well in Europe, is my prediction. Unai Emery does well in Europe, and so I see Aston Villa doing well here. They're going to get a win on the board. It might be closer than what we appear or what we think, but I think it's going to be maybe a 2-1 victory for Aston Villa. Next in the early window, we have Juventus up against PSV Eindhoven. Again, Juventus has a strong Serie A start, and PSV Eindhoven is at the top of the Eredivisie at the moment. With these two teams going well, it's hard to pick between the two, but I am giving the emphasis to Juventus. I do think, again, Serie A teams are going to be a little bit better, and Juve, I think, is going to have the benefit of being at home as well. I am going to give Juve maybe a 3-1 victory here. PSV Eindhoven is going to be looking for other matchups in their schedule to then get points off of. So Juve getting a 3-1 victory here. Then we go to the late window. And our first matchup here is a nice one. AC Milan hosting Liverpool. And so seeing these two teams together, it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Liverpool does with their poor result against Nottingham Forest on the weekend. With them going away to AC Milan, I'm going to go for a draw here. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals, as I think Liverpool's defense is pretty solid. And so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. AC Milan, I think, would be happy with that to get on the board. 1-1 draw seen here. Then we have Bayern Munich facing Dinamo Zagreb, hosting them. I see Bayern Munich as potentially going through and winning most, if not all, of their league phase games, and Dinamo Zagreb are going to struggle, at least in this matchup. So I think this could be a big one. It could be something like a 5-0 or 6-0 victory for Bayern Munich. I'm going to give them 5-0 against Dinamo Zagreb. Zagreb is going to find points potentially elsewhere, not in this game. Bayern Munich, solid 3 points from them. Then we've got Real Madrid hosting Stuttgart. Again, a pot 1 team versus a pot 4 team. Although Stuttgart, being second in the Bundesliga last year, is certainly not someone that Real Madrid can roll over, or that can play, that they're not going to roll over against Real Madrid. So Real Madrid is going to have to then bring a good game here. I do see them as the superior team, but Stuttgart could put up a fight, and so I'm going to put Real Madrid maybe a 2-0 victory. I don't think it's going to be a big victory, but it's going to be enough for them to get the 3 points that they need. Then the last game on Tuesday is Sporting Lisbon hosting Lille. This is an interesting one. Sporting Lisbon, I think, is a very good team. Seeing them, and I suspect they're going to go win their domestic league. Lille, I think, has done well in Europe recently, as well as then I think they're going to be competitive in Liga again this year. This one I think is going to be maybe a draw here. I do see a lot of scoring potential here, so maybe I'll call this one a 2-2 draw, where each of them get 1 point on the board here. Sporting Lisbon and Lille getting a draw. Then we go to Wednesday's fixtures, and again, we've got two more early window games, and we have Bologna hosting Shakhtar Donetsk. And so when I take a look at this here, this is an interesting matchup. Bologna did well to then qualify for the Champions League. Shakhtar Donetsk doing well in the Ukrainian league to then qualify as well. The worry I have is Bologna has lost a few players over the summer and may not be the same team as they once were. And Shakhtar Donetsk, I think, has the opportunity to get 3 points here away from home, and I'm going to give it to them. I think Shakhtar are going to win here. Perhaps there's, it's going to be a close one. I'm going to give just a 2-1 victory to Shakhtar here, back and forth, but I think the 3 points go to the Ukrainian side. Then we have Sparta Prague against Red Bull Salzburg. Two teams that would be looking at this matchup as one of their ways of getting points on the board. And if one of them can get 3 points, that goes a long way to their pursuit to making the playoffs. Although when I take a look at this matchup, when I look at Red Bull Salzburg, they're probably maybe the better team here, but both of them have started well in their domestic leagues. And so maybe this is one where there's a straight draw between them, right? Sparta Prague, Red Bull Salzburg, maybe a lot of goals in there. I could go 3-3, although maybe that's a little bit too ambitious. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw between Sparta Prague and Red Bull Salzburg. Next, we have Celtic hosting Slovan Bratislava. The Slovak team, first time in the Champions League, are going to then be ready and raring to go here. But it is tough to go travel to Celtic and get a result. And so for me, this might be one of the few opportunities that Celtic could get a win on the board. And I think they will. I think it might be a tight game. I think Slovan Bratislava could be coming in ready for the goals. And so I'm going to give this one as maybe a wild one, but Celtic getting the victory. A 3-2 victory for them, for Celtic in this matchup. Then we have Club Brugge against Borussia Dortmund. Club Brugge coming from the Belgian league. Again, they've had a bit of a slow start. Borussia Dortmund always does well. Again, they were Champions League runners-up last year. So I do see Borussia Dortmund coming in and getting a victory here. Hopefully Club Brugge can turn some of their form in their domestic league, which might help them in the Champions League. But for now, I'm going to give Dortmund, maybe a 4-1 victory against Club Brugge. 4-1 for Dortmund. Then we have a great matchup here. Manchester City versus Inter Milan. Again, two teams, champions of their own leagues last year, looking to push further and do well in the Champions League. I'm going to give the slight edge to Manchester City here, and maybe it's going to be a very tight game. I'm going to give maybe just a 1-0 victory for Manchester City. This should be probably one of the games of the match week between these two. And then finally, I have Paris Saint-Germain against Girona. Girona getting into the Champions League for the first time up against PSG, seeing how they will do in Liga. They've done decently well. As well, what are they going to look like in the Champions League without Mbappe? I do see PSG doing decently well. They're going to slip up at times perhaps, but not here against Girona. I do see PSG getting the victory here. Maybe 3-1, I think, is a reasonable score. PSG winning against Girona 3-1. Then we go to the Thursday games. And yes, there are Thursday Champions League games this week. We have Crvena Zvezda up against Benfica. Two teams that are used to being in the Champions League fairly regularly. although Benfica certainly has had more success than Zvezda. I am going to give the win to Benfica here. I do think that they're just have a little bit better quality. It's going to be tough away from home, but maybe a lot of goals in it. 3-2 for Benfica. Then we have Feyenoord hosting Bayer Leverkusen as another early window game. Feyenoord coming off of winning the Eredivisie, but losing their head coach to Liverpool has made it a slower start for them in the league. Bayer Leverkusen, again champions of the Bundesliga, then having a reasonably strong showing, although there's some slip-ups that they've had in the league thus far. When we take a look at those two, again, I'm going to give the lean to Leverkusen here. They're a strong team. Xabi Alonso has done very well with them, and I think they're going to continue to do well now sitting in the Champions League, giving them a 2-0 victory against Feyenoord. Then I have Atalanta hosting Arsenal. This is a good game. You've got the Europa League champions hosting a strong Premier League team in Arsenal. This could be back and forth. It's hard to know. Arsenal has done fairly well in the league thus far. And Atalanta, maybe they could get some more results to go their way. But I am going to have Arsenal just squeaking this one out. Maybe a close 2-1 victory against Atalanta. Then another strong matchup, which is Atletico Madrid up against RB Leipzig. Atletico Madrid, again, perennially good at the Champions League. Leipzig has been up there in the Bundesliga for the last few years and hoping to then make another Champions League run. I do see Atletico Madrid getting the victory here. Again, this could be a tough one, back and forth. I'm going to give Atletico Madrid a tough 1-0 victory in this matchup. Then we have Stade Brestois against Sturm Graz. Two teams from pot 4, where then both of them would be looking for, is this a time for you to get points on the board? Stade Brestois have not started well in their league, and Sturm Graz have. And so it's tough to then balance, okay, which team is going to do better here and how you make a call. I'm going to then maybe call this as a draw. I might have then given the advantage to Brestois, but I do think maybe Sturm Graz's good record in their league thus far gives them an opportunity in this game, and we're going to call a 1-1 draw in this matchup. Finally, we've got Monaco up against Barcelona, hosting Barcelona. Monaco has done well last year to then qualify for Champions League once again, and Barcelona, perennial Champions League players. When we look at these two, I do see Barcelona being the better quality team here against Monaco, although, again, it could be a tight one. I'm going to say maybe a lot of goals in this one. I'm going to put Barcelona 3, Monaco 2 as my final prediction of match day 1. If you agree with my predictions or disagree with them, put them down in the description below. I am more than welcome to hear some disagreements, but put your own predictions out there too, and we can have a chat in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to keep doing this every match week so that we can have predictions we can discuss throughout the entire new league phase of the Champions League. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.